AA Best Bail Bonds big game coverage live from Miami.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM on the go at ESPNSA.com. AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage continues with a man who's been busy most of the year, Chase Edmonds, running back, Cardinals, man. How's your year going?
It's going good, man. How's your year going?
Well, not nearly as good as yours,
nah.
man.
I doubt that.
No,
I seriously
look
doubt
at
that.
you, man.
Nah,
you
look
look
at you.
great.
You look good.
Well, thank you. You haven't seen me before.
I
look awful.
I need some of that chest hair. That's what I need.
Oh, dude.
All right, so there's two things that have happened.
Yeah,
we've known Chase all of 3 minutes at this point, right? so he sits down and and if you're watching on the Facebook Live, you saw this. I've never seen somebody take out the grill.
Well, look, I was thinking.
I've never seen anybody compliment Rob's chest hairs. But let's talk about the grill.
I always wanted chest hair, man. I don't got none. The grill first, though. It's like a thing with the new generation.
Oh yeah,
you look cool, you look good, but I'll tell you what, man, it gives you a hell of a lisp.
Tough on radio. Right?
It's tough on radio. Yeah, I knew we were gonna talk a lot. So if I was trying to talk with you guys with that grilling, it's been hard.
It makes sense. All right, so and you got chest hair envy.
I know.
That's unfortunate, man. You get older, hair starts growing in places you don't even want to talk about, man. You're starting trimming your nose and your ears.
your nose.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm almost there.
Life,
I'm learning so much from this guy. It's getting there. Is this your first Radio Row experience?
It is. It is my first year because Super Bowl last year was up at Minnesota. I wasn't going to Minnesota.
Man, it's cold.
Minnesota was awful. Last year in Atlanta wasn't much better.
Right.
A couple years
Atlanta
ago.
was last year.
We all want to forget Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, because in the minus 48 day it still haunts me.
I heard it was that cold.
It was not fun. But you're playing in Phoenix, man.
I know.
I mean, that's a pretty good place to be.
It's the place to be in the winter. I'm told. I'm heard that Phoenix is where all the winter birds go down. And it's cold everywhere else outside of Miami, maybe. And California, so people go to Phoenix, and I love it.
Give him a follow on Twitter at Chase Edmonds 22, joining us here on ESPN San Antonio.
Appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's what we're here for. Your season, watching all the press coming into it, the Kyler idea, the new offense, all that went into it. Judging and looking back at last season, give y'all's team a grade. What do you think? How well did you do in your mind?
For in our mind, I'm gonna go like a C+. Just because we don't take losing lightly, man. Obviously we had the #1 pick, so obviously the #1 goal was just improvement.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at it from a standpoint of just organization, just really improvement. You got to be realistic. But it was a lot of games that I felt like we could have won. I felt like we could have won the first 49ers game. And I mean, honestly, you go back and forth with both of the 49ers game. We ended up playing them very well, and I felt like we really gave that game away on the one that was away at San Francisco. So I felt like we were in it to go 8-8, I assume. But we had obviously dramatic improvements in the offense, and you look at the stats from 2018 to 2019, our offense was night and day better. So that was a key improvement for us, and I think we got the defensive player of the year on our team with Chandler Jones.
And when you think about of the games that I watched, more so than just even on Red Zone, but just watching and, personally rooting for Cliff to have success. You get fired from your college job and end up getting hired as an NFL head coach. That's kind of crazy, isn't it, right?
That's a good turnaround.
But what I want him. I covered him when he was in high school. I did all his high school games. I know his dad. You guys probably know Tim Kingsbury at this point, right?
Yeah.
But watching the improvement, even though the wins weren't there, you could tell that this team was getting better.
Sure,
From Kyler to you mentioned the defensive side, but what was it like? Trying to figure out. One, you got Cliff Kingsbury as your coach, putting in that kind of offense, and then a quarterback like Kyler with all the attention that he's getting.
Yeah, so very optimistic, and I think it was very optimistic because the guys knew how good Kyler was. And I remember before the draft, it was maybe a week before the draft, obviously you're hearing the murmurs that we might be taking Kyler, and you got Josh out there, and and then when it happens, just like, we obviously knew it was going to be a complete 360 turnaround. You got Kyler now, you got Cliff. It's going to be a spread style offense. It's going to be fast paced. I mean, some guys are honestly excited just because that's where you come from in college. So
Mhm.
now you feel like, wow, it's college ball all over again. We just playing on Sundays. You know, the terminology is going to be easier. The play call is going to be easier. Understanding it is going to be easier. And so a lot of the young guys were fired up about that. And coming into that, man, it was just such a good experience for us, really, because Cliff was so energetic. He's such a player's coach. Kyle is cool, calm, collective. You know, he's always doing the right thing. And you really never see him fluster. You never see his body language change. So it was great for us.
When you look, you talked about your coach and being a player's coach and all that, and the offense that you kind of went back to from college.
Yeah.
What's the biggest misconception about a Kingsbury offense? That it's all everybody believes they're just winging it on the edges.
Yeah, the biggest misconception is that it's just an air raid offense, and I was part of that. I thought it was gonna be an air raid offense when we first hired him, but I mean, you look at the stats. I remember week 1 to week 2, we were like 81%, 10 personnel, and that was by far and large #1 in the NFL. And then you go to like week 12 to like week 16. I mean, we're in 12 personnel primarily. So I think the one thing that Cliff does a great job of is he finds out what he has good on his team. He finds out what's working, and then he just finds more creative ways to make that work. So for us, 12 personnel was a good way for us to establish the run, but also we were very balanced in the pass game. So Cliff stuck with the 12 personnel, and you saw key contributors like Max Williams, my guy Dan that we picked up from the New Orleans late in the season. Obviously KD with the production that KD was having, and Cliff just does a good job of just finding his personnel, man, and finding what we're good at and just establishing it and continuing forward with it.
And runs the ball more than.
And runs the ball.
It's funny because my high school coach was Hal Mummy,
Yeah.
who kind of taught Mike Leach when they were at Valdosta State, and then all the offenses that have come out of that. And so I remember from the beginning, and even Mike Leach will tell you, we want to run the ball first.
Right.
And Cliff and at Texas Tech, with Justin Stockton, they ran the ball a lot more than people think. They just think you throw it 80 times a game.
I know. You've seen it. Like, I felt like when we were playing our best football, which is probably like week 4 through 7, and then when KD was snapping, so like week 12 through 16, 17, we were running the football out like amazingly. Cincinnati, Atlanta, and New York, we ran the football well. And then obviously Seattle, we ran the football well. San Fran, we ran the football well. So I felt like our offense was getting started by the run, and then everything else opened up after that.
Chase Edmonds joining us here on ESPN San Antonio, running back with the Cardinals, Fordham University.
Yes, sir.
All
Fordham.
right. Yes,
Boogie
sir.
Down Bronx.
Yeah, Boogie Down Bronx.
Boogie Down Bronx.
But you're a PA guy, right? You're out of
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg.
And bitching about the cold.
Arizona turned my blood warm, man. Arizona turned my blood warm.
So what's it like to run against that defense in San Francisco?
Oh, man. Obviously extremely talented, man. And I tell people that San Francisco is the best in the NFL at generating pressure with just a 4. And, I think that you're going to see a lot of teams try to copycat how they built their team. First-round picks up front, really just get the trenches right, and then build on the outside after that. And they do a tremendous job. Obviously, very talented, very well coached. And it's you just got to find you got to really. We have this saying where you tap a rock, okay? And if you just keep tapping that rock at the same place, eventually it's going to break. And that's what it's like running against San Francisco.
Did you get that from Cliff?
Nah, I actually got it from my old running back coach, Kirby.
All right.
Kirby Wilson.
Because the San Antonio Spurs forever under Greg Popovich have the Jacob Reese quote in their locker room about pounding the rock.
Okay.
So I was about to go get on Cliff for just kind of still in. Not pound the rock. We'll tap the rock.
Yeah, but
you got to pound the rock.
Yeah, you got to pound it. We always say you just tap a rock on that same spot, and eventually it's gonna crack. So that's kind of what it's like running against San Francisco, man. Just you're gonna get some 2-yard runs. Shoot, you might even get a negative loss yard. But if you want to have a chance of beating them, you got to stay patient with the run game. I truly believe because when that front four is able to pin their ears back and just go get the quarterback, they're the hardest team to beat probably in the NFL.
Who you taking?
I've been going back and forth with this one, but I think you cannot teach speed, and I think that I'm gonna go on a limb and say Kansas City has the fastest receiving core in the history of the NFL at one team right now. I mean, Sammy Watkins is probably the 4th fastest on that receiving core. So you can't teach speed, man. I think Andy Reid's gonna find creative ways to get the ball out fast with Patrick Mahomes. They'll find creative ways to, if they don't establish the run, just to keep San Fran off balance. I think that actually you'll see him attacking with up-tempo because that's how I feel like how we played him so well. We attacked him with up-tempo. We tried to get that front four tired, fatigued, get him in and out of rotation, catch him off guard. I think you'll see Kansas City do that a lot early in drives. And I think that with Patrick Mahomes' talent in his arm, Andy Reid to get his first Super Bowl, I'm going to go 31-23.
31-23, taking Kansas City. And, Chase, before we let you go, we talked a little bit about Kyler, a little bit about Cliff. What's it like playing with Larry Fitzgerald?
Oh, that's big bro, man. That's big bro. I love Larry. and he's really taking us under his wing, man, and just to see the professionalism that he still has in year 17 coming up now, man. Is just,
Year 17.
Year 17. He's still a little kid, though. Don't let him tell you different. He's such a little kid.
That is awesome to hear. Now, I don't know if you know this. I didn't know this till the other day when I was reading about Eli Manning has made more money off NFL contracts than anybody else,
I
right?
think Peyton's number 2, right?
Peyton is number 2. He was able to pass his brother by playing this last year. But if you look at that top 10 list, there's Larry Fitzgerald.
Is he 10?
Yeah, he's 10 and the only non-quarterback.
Yeah.
Does he pick up the tab everywhere you go?
He usually does. Now,
Okay.
All
right.
He usually does. I was about to get on it, but he usually does, man.
Usually.
Yeah, Larry's a great
So the big
guy.
one's at least for you, right?
He better not leave the big one. He better not leave the big one for me. But yeah, man, just being around him is it's such a blessing. Like, I mean, arguably the greatest receiver ever outside of Jerry Rice, arguably, and just to see how he works, in and out of the facility, how he carries himself as a man, though, just off the field, and how he treats people. And how he's so smart and so gifted up here, man, is just awesome.
Well, congratulations, man. Great season. We're excited for you. And I'll tell you what, in about 20 years after you got your Hall of Fame induction and all that, I think you got a future in the media, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Chase Edmonds right here on
Appreciate you,
ESPN San Antonio. Got us pro football player talk right there. Thanks for coming by, Chase. We'll be right back here on The Blitz.